Good afternoon once again. Good afternoon. Yeah, so I think it's the penultimate session before we draw close for today. We have been having excellent topics, and this particular topic is again very, something that's fresh, although we discuss it every year, because every year the element of mix between physical retail and online retail is keeping on changing, and we are also learning new things in this world of a balance between physical and online. So this time we have, for this topic, a mix of a panel of people who are in physical retail, some in technology, food, fashion and other businesses. So I'll quickly take a round of self-introduction for all the panelists so that you get to know more about them and the business, and then we will step into the question. Is that okay? Yeah, so I'm Balachandar, so I'm a retailer for the last 23 years. Currently, I am one of the directors at Junior Kuppanna, and so I am technically right now in F&B, but primarily a person who's been in fashion as well, so can understand what it means when the shift is happening from physical retail to online retail. So that's a quick introduction about myself. I'll be the moderator for this session. I'll go on to Vikas. Vikas, about yourself.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Vikas Baisani. I'm the founder of Off and On. We're India's first destination for premium kitchen appliances. We just launched last year, coincidentally 3 days right before the previous CRS. So it's been 1 year strong, and we're looking forward to serving a lot more customers. Thank you.
Thank you, Vikas. Abhishek.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Abhishek. I represent Suguna Foods. I head marketing for Delfrez, which is the processed food division of Suguna group. We started Delfrez about 2 years back. Earlier, we had the stores were named Suguna Daily Fresh. This was one of the initiatives which we took to bring Delfrez as the D2C space in the Suguna and rebrand all of our stores and the packaging, everything under one umbrella called Delfrez. So over the discussion, I'm going to talk about it. Been with Suguna for about 3 years now, and happy to be here.
Hi, this is Faizal Ahamed representing SUXUS chain of menswear. Present across 11 cities, and we have 17 stores, and we cater value format menswear between the price range of ₹30 and ₹399.
Hi, good evening, everyone. This is Gaurav Chauhan from TVS. First of all, I'd like to congratulate this extremely dynamic session. It's my first time at Chennai Retail. I've attended many sessions, but the participation and the interest is phenomenal. I'd like to take 1 minute to introduce. So, I'm from TVS Electronics. TVS, is one of the, we've been there in the market for last 30 years. India is one of the, in-house product brands. So, many of you must be using our products as well. While we have customer segments, not just in, large banks, retailers, it is also, we are also serving one of the biggest e-commerce site, that is IRCTC and other large customers as well. The agenda of the session, right? While we all are here, there is a, we are seeing a transition from physical to online. There are a lot of unanswered questions which are there, right? So this is exactly, the problem statement that I work on and explore. While the big retailers are more equipped to, serve solutions, to navigate this, it is, the store owners who are having 1 store, 2 stores, who attend this seminar, and while there are a lot of takeaways, sort of end up getting confused as well, that okay, what is that I'm supposed to do, right? So we at TVS are trying to build a single platform, one-stop platform. You'll have all the hardware that you require in your store. You'll have all the software that you'll require in your store, and irrespective of what appliance that you have, you'll also have a service platform. So that's about what I do. Thank you again.
Thanks, Gaurav.
Hello, everyone. I'm Sadique, founder CEO of Chai Kings. Chai Kings is the chai cafe with 56 outlets, predominantly in Chennai, and have presence in Coimbatore, Hyderabad, and Bangalore as well.
Good evening. My name is Japtej Aluwalia. I am the co-founder for Precall Gourmet. We run a bunch of premium dining restaurants, namely Double Roti, Bread and Chocolate, Soy, Savya Rasa in Chennai. Most of my restaurants are here. We also have some restaurants in Pune, in Cochin, and in Delhi. Uh, Before starting my journey as an entrepreneur in 2015, I used to work with ITC Hotels. In fact, this was one of the hotels that I was posted in, and I was part of the pre-opening team for this particular hotel. ITC has also actually played a pretty significant role in my entrepreneurship journey because the seed capital for my business in 2014 was the Provident Fund and the gratuity that I got after working with ITC for 10 years. So yeah, ITC has played a big part.
Thank you, Japti.
Good evening, everyone. Myself, Muthu Kumar from Code Value Technologies, Chennai. Yeah, so among the retail REAI, so all the retailers here, what am I going to do, right? So may not be we are directly into retail, but we do support retailers using the technologies, right? The major technology that we are using today is helping with Microsoft, right? So we are trying to adopt Microsoft to help retailers. And when we come into retailers, yes, it is a very challenging day because every minute is money. And that minute can be converted into money either physically or online, right? So a technology, how and where, like used correctly will be a exact result for a retailer to succeed. So having analytics on time, having data on time, and having control 360 degree is what a retailer wanted it, right? So that is where we are here, like to understand the world and then to explain what we do. So not only in India, we do support today across the globe, close to 13 plus countries, and all formats of retail, you say QSR, fine dine, right? And then you say, like any hypermarket, supermarket, any major malls, etc., right? All of these are being controlled today by a technology. We will be able to open a retail store in a mall depending upon the statistics that we get. And that statistics that you get it from the IT, right? So still now, maybe, like I brought myself from the Videocon industry where we were myself on the other side. I'm a retailer, right? Supporting all the retail operations. And that is where we come in. And what we understand is all the retailers understand the investment that is required to bring up a project, bring up a resource, bring up a product, bring up a branding, etc. One thing what every retailer used to forget earlier is, I believe it is changing now, but every retailer used to forget is IT is not an expense, it is an investment, right? So with like any other investment, retailers, please do think what is the technology that you wanted to invest on, because that technology will also add up what you can earn tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you, Muthu. So we've set the context among the panelists here. So we have a small presentation that we want to run the audience through. So physical and digital is a favorite topic that we all talk about. COVID has, of course, in the last 3 years, shown, or rather given a glimpse of what the digital and online can do for physical retail businesses. Here, as members, we are 99%, I would say, primarily tuned on physical retail, but the opportunity of digital and online is something that we can see, but we've not been able to figure out as physical retailers what we can do online. So hopefully this session gives you some insights of view into what others are doing, what other retailers are doing, what other D2C companies are doing, and maybe gives you some inspiration to go back and start something and invest into e-commerce and online space. So here we go. Online commerce has no doubt revolutionized retail. Technology has made retail more sophisticated, but what's in it for us as a traditional retailer? So that's what we are going to address in this panel today. Tale of two worlds, right? Physical retail, we have been shopping at the Shopper Stops of the world, Lifestyles of the world, and DMarts of the world. That's been one world that we have seen. And literally the other world is the online retailers like the Flipkart, Amazon, and Licious. And in the last decade, we've also significantly shopped in online retail as well as consumers. So I think there is a tale of two worlds that's happening parallelly. Now, apart from the tale of two worlds, there is also a hybrid. So there are companies which are operating in the middle space. We had talk about from when Titan Mr. Venkatraman was talking, Carrot Lane. So Carrot Lane, although started off as an online player, is now largely into investing and moving, scaling up in the physical space. Lenskart, which raised money as an online player, is now opening probably 300 stores a year, is what we are told. Zivame, Rare Rabbit, again coming into offline space. Nykaa, we have seen Nykaa stores at all of the malls, so they have gone offline. Mama Earth, which is again a D2C brand, which is now selling offline. So you have this whole bunch of people who started in D2C, moved to offline, right? So then now as a physical retailer, I'm confused, right? I am here in physical retail and these guys start in online and they come to offline and compete here, then where am I left with, right? So that's a confusion all of us physical retailers are having. On the other side, if you see, there are brands like Shopper Stop, which is invested heavily in e-commerce and online, although they're doing, I'm told about 5% of their sale online. But somebody like a High Design, we have Sneha from High Design here. So High Design does about 30% from online, including their own website, right? And typically you would classify High Design as a physical retailer, right? Not in the conventional terms, but for a brand like High Design to go and discover and sell online is something that they have done well. So the other way also is working, right? There are brands who have invested in online and showed that significant percentage of their sales can come online. Food retail, obviously, me and Japtej and Jahabar, we have been speaking that 25-30% of our sales come from Swiggy and Zomato, but we have not been able to build our own online basis. So what's the myth behind all this? How can we truly grow hybrid is what we are thinking. So just to get a little bit into a basics, there is always a DFE model is what they teach in retail or any kind of physical, offline, online. There's a discovery, there's a fulfillment, and there's an engagement. So if we understand this, the reason why certain brands are doing what, we are able to figure out better. Discovery is when the consumer is able to discover a brand. Today, your discovery for most of your products and brands happens on your mobile phone. So that's largely online. So how, when you look at this, probably look at it from the lens of your own business, right? How are you enabling your customers to discover your brand? So once they discover it, how are they fulfilling it, whether it's from a store or online or WhatsApp or whatever is it, right? So that's a fulfillment where the sale is getting closed. This is essentially both online, offline. So when I was told Lenskart does most of its sales offline at their stores, but their customers actually discover them online, then go to offline, purchase that, and probably engage with them online again. So that's the third part, which is the engagement. So how do you engage? So nowadays, to make customers to come to a store, you have to spend that much. But to make customers to go to a website and engage or through a CRM program, it's much more cost effective. So I think the DFE model is something that we as physical retailers need to strip it down for our own businesses and our own categories and try to understand how we can make it work for us. So the DNA of both the worlds have, a relationship with the business model. The business model has various factors, and each of it, why I'm telling this generally is because each of these factors is different for apparels, electronics, fashion, food, and stuff like that, right? So what are the different factors? One is customer acquisition. How easy or difficult it is to acquire a customer. Second is, customer understanding and data. What is the kind of data you want? For example, for let's say electronics, you would consume lesser than what you would consume food. So you need to understand the food customer a little bit more better, right? So what kind of data you're using, how frequent is your customer purchase? Third is use of technology. How you can integrate technology into your product and your customer sale process. Fourth is the whole experience itself, like jewelry category. If you're doing a wedding shopping, can a wedding shopping ever go online? Maybe happened during COVID, but largely it is offline, right? So the customer experience angle, can it be replicated in two channels is something that we see. Scale and growth. So many of the startups that are starting now, they're having a great product, maybe in a beauty category, but they don't want to go approach a physical retailer now because they feel that the margins are high. It's very difficult to penetrate a physical retailer now and place your product across all the shelves. So their easier way to penetrate is to do a D2C and go online. So I think scale and growth is something also determines which channel you want to take first. But as I said, all the people who grew online are coming back to offline because your first factor, which is your customer acquisition, is definitely 10 or 15 times more in online than in offline, right? Creating a brand, how can you create a brand quicker? What is created over decades, in physical retail has got created in few years in online retail. So how impatient or how fast you want to be in creating a brand also determines where do you want to go. Then obviously the last one, which is fundraise and valuation of business. Unfortunately or fortunately, in online retail, because of the customer acquisition cost, even though you might have a good gross profit, it invariably becomes a cash burn business, which you have to sustain until you hit the scale. So it's a chicken and egg story, whether it's scale or profits. So again, this is a factor that you need to keep. So these are the factors that probably can go into your notes on how you need to structure your model for your business. Now, framework of hybrid retail is some questions that you can ask yourself. Do you have a legacy? If you don't have one, then it's better to create a legacy now online rather than offline. Value creation over decades and valuation in few years. I think people have, now there is a set of crowd which is preferring, we have Delfrez here, what they've created offline is about 250 stores. And Licious, which is the online player, which is there as an online player, #1 across India, the valuation metrics are completely different. So value creation and valuation is some factor that you decide when you look at online and offline. PMF is your product market fit. So this is all, I think, just for you to maybe take a picture, but there's a lot of theory and gyan, but I'll skip that. Customer acquisition cost, I touched upon. How you can modernize your legacy, how you can define your customer experience, how retailers can also move online. Which I told you the case about high design, right? See, so these are the questions that you can ask yourself for your category, what's right for your brand. Now, what can traditional retailers do? Obviously, we are trying to do this, but just a reminder or a quick checklist. How can we integrate technology? How can we bring in simple things as buy from Instagram, buy through WhatsApp, and small features which actually enable the DFE model to work better for us, that is discovery, fulfillment, and engagement model. Give an option to the customer to discover, engage, buy, and converse online. So that's something that we are trying to do as physical retailers. Maybe we need to put a little bit more effort. Third is work with aggregators. I think if you can't beat them, join them. So that's how you can be part of. I think the food, we will vouch for it because we are just joining them in their party with Swiggy and Zomato. So that's something that we can do to start off. ONDC is another great platform. I think people who have been exposed to ONDC will understand the power of ONDC. It gives you customer access as well as an e-commerce platform to converse and finish sale online. So everybody who's here, and Rai has been advocating ONDC for the last 1 year very extensively across all our forums. So whoever are not part of ONDC here should take your efforts to move to ONDC. We can help you out at Rai as well. Invest in an online ecosystem. So that's one problem that physical retailers we have. When we say we need to invest in retail, in e-commerce online, we are more comfortable investing in a store because वो 1 crore तो दिखता है. Here you give a CTO or 2-3 lakh package. In a year, your 35 lakhs is gone. The other team takes away 35 lakhs. We cannot digest that fact. But somehow, if you are serious about e-commerce, you need to start investing in your team, resources, and technology platform. And that might disappear, but that's a risk that you take. But the risk is smaller than the business risk that you take if you don't invest in online. Acquisition possibilities. So this is something that's come up now because there are a lot of startups which have started, has a good technology team, but somewhere they are not able to kind of grow and scale. So they are getting acquired by players in each of their vertical. So there will be a day when Balaji sir, Naidu Hall would hopefully acquire an innerwear startup which is there, and probably that gives you a better expansion into offline space. So these are possibilities that is in front of us as physical retailers. There's also entrepreneurship opportunities where you try to create a startup within your company itself. We have had Mithun here, Jaipur Gems. He created Carrot Lane, a known category, being under his family's shelter. So I think you can also create that. So these are all things that probably traditional retailers can do. And with this, we will move to our expert panel. With this context, let's discuss a few questions. So I'll first go on to Faizal, because Faizal, extremely powerful offline player and someone who's, been rocking the space as far as value retail in men's is concerned. Faizal, you're almost 100% offline, right, in physical retail. So because you believe in the power of offline retail, and for this format, maybe you feel that online retail is not, something that would work. What is, in a debate, what would be you say as the most important aspects of offline retail which will never get, taken over by online?
So before starting, wonderful presentation, Bala. Sitting here on the dais, we learnt a lot. And when it comes to physical retail, touch and feel, personalized, physical retail, leaving apart all those factors. Observing, because we as a company, we just contribute only 1% of our sale is online, wherein we just do 20,000-30,000 rupees sale a day online. Observing from that, what we felt was, the first thing is the basket size. So the basket size, wherein in our online sale, wherein we do the sale, we have a salesmanship and we interact with many customers. The average ticket size would be not more than 600 and 700 rupees, wherein because the online buyers are very focused and they buy only what they want to. But wherein there is no salesmanship or there is no sales guidance in our store, in the offline store, we get an average of around 1,100 and 1,200 rupees inside our store. On the other hand, most of our online customers are from the cities where we are not present. So say, for example, we are not present in Sivagasi. So when a customer from Sivagasi places an order through online, he buys one shirt or one pant or a pair of garments. But when they personally visit our store in Madurai, and when they personally come and buy, they are buying for more than 5,000 rupees. Wherein our per quantity price is 200, 300 rupees, wherein 20 garments will be sold. So this average ticket size is actually possible only in the offline retail, as far as we have noticed. On the second thing, the retailer's perspective, and the second thing is the visibility. See, for example, take our Coimbatore store or our Anna Salai store. Not less than, we took a survey of near about 175,000 people crossing that store in a single day, which won't be possible for any online. So that visibility, and say, for example, if I personally order some food items from Zomato or Swiggy, only those who have physical presence, we order. See, for example, buying a sandwich from a Chai King through Swiggy or buying a sandwich from XYZ who doesn't have physical presence online actually differs. I won't buy from them. So the visibility actually matters. Say, for example, either the visibility of 5.5 lakh, 6 lakh square feet store, or on every 1 kilometer gap or 100 meters gap, now specs makers and Chai Kings are opening stores. So this visibility actually makes a difference. And when Sendil was talking from the Dindigul Talapakatti, you create a statement or create a story is what he told. See, me trailing from a city of Madurai, wherein on every Muhurtams, Raj Mahal makes a statement, creates a story. So near about 1,000 people gathering in front of Raj Mahal, or even when you travel to Coimbatore, 1,000 people gathering in front of Sridevi Textile, on a Muhurtam is actually creating a story. So, or per se, like in our case, on the opening date, a 3-kilometer queue was there in front of our Annanagar store is even talked even now. So all those incidents, even a negative incident, say for example, a fire incident happened in Super Saravana stores, Madurai, even that has created a story, and after immediately they recovered from that fire incident, there was a huge crowd inside Saravana stores. So this is possible in a physical retail store, in all means. So this I would say, and from the customer's perspective, definitely experience in the sense, see like in our case, 10, 15 college students coming into our store to buy a single shirt for their friend. Or again, 10, 15 people from a single family getting into Nalli or Kumbaran on a Muhurtam date to buy a single bridal saree. All this is possible only through offline retail. Online, I myself go, I select and I buy, and I can't keep all my 15 friends or 15 family members within me and then buy a product. See, experience having a better environment, having good reception, all that apart, all 15 or 20 of us traveling together to buy a single shirt, that matters actually. So this sort of an experience is definitely on a customer's perspective, and above all, I would say instant shopping, because 3 days back I wanted to buy a Skechers. I had an e-voucher for 5,000 rupees, but then I couldn't buy on the same day. So I dropped into the nearest store and then bought my Skechers shoe, and then I came back. So all this, I feel this can't be compensated through online retail anytime, Bala.
So Faizal, you are definitely batting for offline, I can understand that. But yeah, I think in perspective, they say that 5 to 10% of the entire consumer business or retail business that happens in India is online. that 5 to 10% is only growing. So we are only talking about how the change is happening so that we don't say who moved my cheese, we move the cheese, right? So I'll go on to Abhishek here. Abhishek heads, Delfrez, which is again a group company of Suguna poultry, if you know. And not many people know that they are the largest 280 stores in South India for processed meat, and probably the largest in India, right? Second largest in India. And they have, Abhishek, you have been putting efforts as a company to move into online. You are seeing the whole world of Licious and Fresh to Home that's happening. As a retailer, what's your thought? Hey, there's something happening, there's some Maya kind of a thing, valuation சொல்றாங்க இதுன்னு சொல்றாங்க நம்ம இங்க உட்கார்ந்து கடை போட்டுட்டு இருக்கோம். What is your thought? இப்போ next என்ன பண்ண போறீங்க?
So before I go to the the online part, I think I'll take a step back to explain the whole emergence of processed chicken. If you look at the poultry industry today, it's 90 to 92% is unorganized, which is your butcher market, right? Live wet market. Only about 8% is the processed chicken market, and that too it has emerged now because post-pandemic, the hygiene came into a big factor. I think consumers started looking at hygiene. They didn't mind paying that extra 30-40 rupees from a wet market. The step two, what happened was the convenience part. Convenience is when the e-commerce started putting its place, and with the rise of, now we are talking about quick commerce, where in metro cities players like Zepto and Blinkit are able to deliver even 15 minutes. I think convenience has become a very, very important role, and that's one of the reason I think a brand like us, who were predominantly in the offline retail space, our stores were earlier called Suguna Daily Fresh, which we rebranded. One need for going online was to meet that convenience part. And while the efforts are going on, I think I would like to highlight a couple of, I think the initial challenges for us were to look at whether we should have our own app or a website, or should we integrate with an aggregator, or just be a part with the your someone like a .pay who is readily available. So we explored all those things. I think for us, the website and the app came second. We started with aggregators. We operate in a franchisee model, right? All our 280 stores are franchisee. First step was us to explain the franchisees why it is important. Everybody started coming, start online. We need that. But then it was important for us to explain the cost that goes into building an app, building a website. Then comes your customer acquisition cost. So we're at a very nascent stage of building the e-commerce. But yes, the necessity was because we saw the consumer asking for it. We had the same set of consumer who came to our store, started asking, why are you not available? March 2023, the Swiggy Meet business got closed, but till the Swiggy Meet was operating, I think our numbers, we were doing pretty good on Swiggy in terms of a meat market. So the demand was there. Now we are trying to capitalize it.
So I think when we're talking about food, I'd like to bring Japtej here. Japtej, as part of NRAI, we've had heavy conversations with the online aggregators, and we as restaurateurs know that what they are doing and how we cannot replicate it, right? So I like to believe that both the different categories, the physical retail and online retail, have two different DNAs, right? As physical retailers, what do you think we can learn from online retailers, or the DNA that they possess? Your thoughts?
So I think Swiggy and Zomato are evil that we cannot live without now. I think they've become that scale that we have to live with them. And also what my co-panelist here was mentioning, I think convenience is a very big factor that people look forward to, especially in the food category, because sitting at home, you have the option of scrolling hundreds of menus and choosing whatever you want to eat, from a 100 rupee price point to a 1500 rupee price point, delivered at your doorstep. Also, we just had a session recently that your team was also part of with NRAI. The Swiggy and Zomato, the volumes that they're doing in India are 1/10 of what their competitor does in China. So the market has that much headroom to grow with similar populations. I think more and more people are, in nuclear families in which both husband and wife are working, and nobody really has time to cook. Also, Indian cooking is pretty laborious. You have to, a bunch of spices, marinations, and things like that. So the convenience of online and offline is definitely convenience of online is definitely something that will play a part. From if I have to put my restaurateur's hat and look at it, I think online gives you the option of starting off or experimenting with something with very less capital, which you cannot do otherwise, because restaurant, as you are also in the same field, is a very capex heavy business. For a physical store of 1500 to 200 to 2000 square feet, you're looking at a pretty significant capex, which in an online model you can experiment with much smaller capex, which I think both Swiggy and Zomato do help data. They do provide us that data, and then you can start. If I have to look at our example, 3 years back they came to us and said there is a gap in Mexican food. So we started an online brand called Mex Bowling, which currently is the #1 Mexican food brand online in the city. So with the availability of data from there, and I think the reduction in ticket size, you can experiment with a lot with business. From a consumer point of view, I think that business is here to stay. There is no two ways about it. But like what Faizal mentioned, I think that was interesting. I think because a physical store will never go away. For me, I would again order chai from a Chai Kings because I see a physical store rather than just an online player who also sells tea on Swiggy and Zomato. So I think that aspect of a connection with a physical store and a physical brand will always remain. In our case also, we saw that our overall sales in online pre-COVID were just 8 to 10%, but that jumped significantly because people were ordering from brands that they were familiar with during the COVID period. They had that trust factor that, okay, I've seen the physical store, I know how the food will be from here, and I would like to order from this particular brand as such.
Credibility, basically. Oh, I think, Japtej, you are also batting for offline, but yeah, I'll bring, Sadique in here, Jahabar. Jahabar, when we talk about online and e-commerce, we always talk about scale and growth, right? You are one physical retailer. In the last 3-4 years, you've shown scale and growth like an e-commerce company, like scale from 0 to like 70 outlets in no time. So, also taken capital. So for traditional retailers here in this room, when we talk about scale, what is the mindset that you would like to, from your learning of Chai Kings, let us know that which helped you in scaling so quickly?
Okay. I think it's not about the mindset. I think the skill set is slightly different, or the core area that you will look at on a daily basis will be slightly different. Meaning when you start up, it's all about the market research and figuring out the USP or the business plan, locations and all of that, right? Once you do that and get customers to come in, and then when you're looking at scaling up, I think your entire mindset or your core area shifts dramatically, right? You might not have looked at marketing and branding on a larger scale before. When you are scaling up faster, when you're scaling up multiple cities, that becomes your forefront, right? Your communication have to be consistent. You have to talk the same language and try to bring in customers. Right? Once you do that, you will have to ensure that every other store of yours has the right products, the people and all of that. Your supply chain has to be strong. Earlier you would have not maintained a solid supply chain management system with your company, but then your core becomes your supply chain management. Once you do that, and once you set up a lot of stores, you're gonna have troubles walking every day, right? That's what you earn for. Once you do that, you have to continuously work on the feedback management, and then that goes back to training. So all of this changes from your main area of looking at bringing in customers to your complete focus shifts to the other non-core areas of a restaurant like marketing, branding, supply chain, inventory management, feedback, training, and then your technology to ease up everything, save a lot of time, save a lot of money, and then probably partnering and collaborations with bigger companies or bigger industries to scale up your brand as well. I think your entire mindset slightly changes from being a startup, from the starting up phase to the scaling up phase is what we have seen in the last 7 years.
You've been a great example for a startup in retail that has scaled tremendously in the last decade, and many of us are inspired by you. So all the best for the next decade journey as well at Chai Kings. But one important point you mentioned that about technology, right? This is where I'd like to bring Gaurav in. Gaurav, the whole customer experience we talk about in physical retail is very different. It's how a person greets you. It's how a salesperson is probably understanding enough to serve the customer better. But online, your whole tools and technologies are different. But a lot of convergence is happening in tools and technology, right? So in terms of when we're looking at traditional retailers, what are the 3-4 most important tools you think we need to move into, apart from just a basic POS and a CRM, which will help, us also acquire some DNA of an online or an e-commerce retailer?
I think the battle of online versus offline is happening globally as well. One major e-commerce player is trying to get, offline, and a major offline player, which is Walmart, is trying to get online. So these things are this is not just a question of India, this is happening globally as well. Now, in terms of physical stores, why a customer goes to a physical store, okay, you can get a touch and feel of the product, right? It's convenient, the shopper. Now, post-COVID, all these segments, both offline and online, are sort of playing to their strengths. So your retail stores formats are changing, right? So the customer is not just come and pick up the product, he's coming there to experience the product, right? So what we are seeing is, in last couple of years, the retail store sizes have increased. The malls are getting restructured, the store size have 30 to 40%, and off and on is a great example, right? Where certain equipments require that experience, right? So one is, okay, you're playing to the strength, sort of store design is changing. How online is playing to their strength? Why do you go to online? Okay, it's a convenience. So even in a very low margin category such as groceries also, right? That is moving online because it's convenience. You're playing to what is happening. Another interesting thing, I think a lot of things came across, okay, customer experience, content. Now, a major social media player is now becoming the biggest, online seller. It is not the e-commerce site, right? So when you are surfing, you see the right product. So such social media is also a sort of a emerging a competition to online. So it's not that e-commerce players are safe. And it is the first time, after COVID, online was on the rise, but now it is starting to go down and people want to go to the store. And so in terms of, offline, it's okay. You have to, improve your customer experience, not just what is customer experience, right? Okay, for your brand, what it is, right? Now, I think there is a lot of debate versus online and offline. I don't believe it in that way. It's, okay, how does your customer shop, right? And where is the gap that is coming in its customer journey? For example, Lenskart or I, right? Everything you have seen, price, cost. Now your issue is you want to try it out. So the store has to cater to that, right? You're not trying to create the same experience of online. You are only creating the store so where you can test it out, right? So the format has to adopt in that way. The other innovation that we are seeing in the physical retail stores is, okay, what are the other challenges? Like why a customer comes to you? What are the major challenges? He loves testing the product out, but he hates the billing, standing in line, standing in queue, so ease that out. So what is coming out is self-checkout, where, customer, even with sales support, he doesn't want to be disturbed. Okay, I'll see everything. Okay, you just have a checkout, I'll check out myself, right? The other thing is, okay, if you're, for example, if you're a makeup brand or anything, we are seeing the emergence of smart mirrors. So, okay, I'll test it out, I'll see how it looks. So these are some small innovations that are coming, right? What is the pain point for your brand? I don't think it is a online versus offline debate. You have to see, okay, how your customer buys. And if there is a pain point, if he's not able to get, which can be resolved only through online, there is no harm in getting online. So you have to see, instead of, having rigid mindsets of online versus offline, that is my view. One challenge, which, like I again mentioned, is what retailers get is moving from online to offline because these players are a bit larger, they find it easy. Moving offline to online is sort of a challenge because these products are usually designed for large businesses who have their IT teams to sort it out. For smaller retailers, 2, 3, 4 chains, it becomes a headache for them. Okay, how do they go to multiple players and sort that out? So this is that one pain point that we are trying to address, and phenomenal opportunities for small retailers, not just to, this is, I've seen larger brands which were like some petrol pumps which are just offline, going to online to increase the revenue. You have everything put in place. It is only going to add a revenue, and the advertisement, the customer data mining is also a big opportunity, which the small retailers can look at. Yeah.
Thank you. I think so your point that in the customer journey, wherever there's a pain point and either two services online or offline is what you're trying to lay out. I think it's valid. And I'll move to, Vikas. With Vikas, we are talking about hybrid businesses. You're actually, you're in the best position to answer because you have a hybrid experience. So Vikas comes from a background of being a part of a large retailer where he learned the ropes with Vivek's and then moved on to start a startup in the online space, which is also having an experience center. So because as in your mind, what would be the successful model that physical retailers can adopt to move online? And from your experience of last 4-5 years, how you've dealt with the larger business, what is your takeaway that you've taken to your startup, which is largely online?
So let me just tell you a little story about Off and On as well. When I was ideating Off and On and the name, and I wanted to explain what I do to the customers. So Off and On, everything that you can buy from me, you can turn off and on, and you can be offline and will be online as well. So hence Off and On. So like you mentioned, hybrid. If you'd like to take a guess on our percentage of retail versus online sales, it's actually even. It's 50%, 50%, which is amazing. So I think we have to really understand the role of what online does for a customer and what offline does for a customer. Instead of thinking that online is the best or offline is the best, what is best for the customer? If you use that mindset and you think at an omni-channel level, can we follow them wherever they are in their consideration journey when they're looking at a purchase? If you're hand-holding them during that journey, you will win. So I think that's the mindset that any retailer should have when they're approaching offline versus online. So there are advantages to both. So in online, like Japtesh mentioned, it's low capex, it's high data, it's low conversion and short relationship. With retail, it's high capex, low data, high conversion because ticket sizes increase, like Faizal mentioned as well, and there's long relationship. So there's a chance to build a relationship with the customer when you're at retail. You should use the advantages of both together and see how they sync. So we recently launched our studio also a couple of days back, and there are a lot of SKUs that don't work very well online. Why? Because they're expensive. So when they're expensive, they also become high consideration. So when they're high consideration, how can you increase the amount of context that a customer gets when they're purchasing, and thereby increasing the confidence, thereby increasing the conversion? So we take the product, we put it in a kitchen, which is the context. We make them touch and feel, we make them use it. There's a TV right next to the kitchen where they see YouTube videos of it. They can see how else it can be used in their own scenarios. And then the conversions are very high. The confidence is very high. So making the customer happy should be the first rule, is what I feel.
Very beautifully said, Vikas. I think you need to find the right customer journey and map it across both online tools and offline experiences as well. So that's what most of us are trying to do in traditional retail. But yes, in all of this, when you talk about different components, technology, products and stuff like that, one important aspect is the data, right? That's what has significantly changed over the last decade. So I'd like to bring Muthu here. Muthu, access to data for an online retailer, the power that it gives them to kind of operate on a customer base is much larger compared to the access to data that traditional retailers have. So we traditional retailers always feel there's a gap in data and data analytics. As traditional retailers, what can we do at a basic level with just POS data, which can help us enable to use our data better and in order that way improve the customer experience as well? Your thoughts on data looking at traditional commerce?
Yeah, so when we speak about data, yeah, it's a very big world, right? So be it online, offline, be it retail or be it manufacturing, data plays the vital role. With traditional retailers, yes, initially we had all the manual billings. Later on, we came up with certain point of sale, one particular store kind of. And then we had a centralized database or an RDBMS kind of where we'll be able to correlate the data within ourselves. When we come to online, what happened, people started building their own e-commerce applications or getting into an aggregator like Swiggy or Zomato here or Amazon or Flipkart on the online. So what was there? We had the option from Amazon to get the competitor analysis at no any additional efforts, right? So we'll be able to tell, see, I wanted to get out of my Amazon, hereafter I'm going to remove my storefront. He'll be coming to you and then telling you, see, your competitors are doing this much well. Right, these are the areas that they are serving, these are the categories they are serving, these are all the, customers who had actually spent time on your page, on your storefront, but they have not done. This kind of a data, really that we miss from the physical retail store, right? So what we can do, what and all can we do? So when we walk in even today into any mall, any physical store, you will be having a security with kind of a tick clock saying that, okay, this is my footfall for this store on this day at this time, for an example. And that footfall will not have a defined data matrix. What we'll say, okay, anybody who is above 3 feet, count them as a footfall. Definitely anybody who is above 3 feet, if that 3 feet in a family is 3 guys, he'll be mentioning it as 6 people who has walked in. Understand a chai shop, understand a hotel industry, right? The ticket size of that 6 will be lesser only, correct? So that is where we lose the power of data. So what else we can do? Yeah. So there are too many sophisticated equipments that have come in, depending upon the investment or the capex that we can build on it. Yes, we'll be able to install it, and then we'll be able to collect all those data, bring analytics onto it, right? Drive the analytics with the human mind to take a decision. Again, even now, after seeing the analytics, a human making a decision is also becoming obsolete now. So when I start, delivering these analytics, or we at Code Value start delivering these analytics to Middle East, to US, UK, all these analytics are being AI driven. So what we do, we get into the top management, we get into the marketing department, sales department, inventory department, or finance for that matter. We'll say that, okay, such kind of a dashboard, after seeing it, what it denotes to you. So everybody would be having their own thoughts, what they are trying to see it from the analytics. And then what we do, we include that as a part of my analytics, right? And my analytics dashboard will start doing the same thing like a CFO. For example, you wanted to see your shop and you say that, this is what it is. Maybe I need to, reduce my time or increase my time, or maybe I need to shift the store from there to the next pillar, for an example. All of these would be taken with a human mind who is sitting in front of it. But today, AI has come in and they'll be able to train what you wanted to do it, right? So that is the power of analytics that we wanted to do. And second one, there is no fear of online and offline today, because if both of them are going to get the same kind of data, and both are going to have a data-driven operations, right? Today, when we say of a physical store, a customer walks in, right, how much would be the ticket size or how much time I spent inside that store is typically dependent upon that one particular salesperson or sales executive is in front of me. How he will be empowered with the data, how he can be empowered with technology, right? Where such kind of a kiosk, yes, people can come in, add their own kiosk, but people come to physical store to know more details that they cannot get it online. So these are all the places where we can bring in some kind of a kiosk, some kind of a mobile app or a power app for that matter, right? Where whenever a customer asks for something, he sees the tablet and he says that, okay, these are all the additional, capabilities or features of this product, and this is available here. I'll be able to deliver it tomorrow, day after, etc., right? So those kind of data is really, really important, because when a customer log in to online, and when he wanted to choose something, he'll be able to do the comparison in a matter of click event, and then he'll be able to understand when it delivered to my house on a click of a button, right? Not even seconds, not even seconds, my online will say that you will be getting this delivered on this day between this time. This all is being done by data, right? And this data is again connected to multiple departments. So when we speak about delivery, yeah, it is connecting to my supply chain department. When I speak about like payment and office, it is connecting to my marketing and finance, right? So the data is important, and the correlation of data across all the departments is very much essential. And having the right, what do you say, information at the right time, that is what it is going to drive. Both technology support will be able to support both online, offline. It is how we wanted to use it and how much we wanted to invest on it.
Yeah, thank you, Muthu. Abhishek, you'd like to add something?
Just wanted to add on a lighter note, there's a lot of data available today. It's for everyone in the room. I think the only point I would want to take away from what he said is we should look at the right data and we should look at the limited data which will help my business. Because if we get into the world of data, there is so much data available. Just take a small example in case of a marketing. Most of the organizations today in the e-commerce have an acquisition team and a retention team. The retention team is only working on data, making customer cohorts, targeting the customers in their respective transaction buckets. So there are enough data available. I just don't want to scare the audience. Yes, they should just look at the right data and analyze, I think, for their respective business.
I think we're almost time's up, but we had varied inputs from a wide expert panel. I would like to sign off by saying that I think we are in traditional retail as physical retailers. The sooner we learn the tricks of the trade in some way from the DNA of online retail, our business can get much more richer and enrich the customer experience as well. We should do that at a faster pace than the online retailers learning offline. So that's my closing remark. Thank you so much for being a great audience. If we have time, we can take a question or we can move on. Yeah, we'll do one question. Anyone, you can put up your hands and ask the question to any of us. Any questions?
Yeah.
So then I think everybody's getting ready for the evening party. Are you getting ready?
I just like to
this
add.
also no.
I just
noise.
like to add one comment. Like while there is a lot of new technologies coming, data and all, even the big players are just starting now. All right, while they have started, but it's an evolved offering. And whatever the tools that they have built years to develop, right now it's available for even the small retailers as well. So it's not that it's a fair fight. And on that positive note, I would like to sign off.
Absolutely, SaaS is democratized technology. So thank you so much.